Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. So today we're going to be going over a company that I've gone over in two recent videos where I said that Adobe roofied all their customers, and my follow-up to that video after their garbage blog post was Lewis rips Adobe to shreds over their garbage response because they deserve it. And we are now going to rip them to shreds again. So it looks like there's an FTC lawsuit going on here that you could find the complaint on ftc.gov. I will link it down below. As I said in this video, in my opinion, Adobe was roofing their customers by not allowing them to get access to Adobe Creative Suite, which they were paying for, unless they agreed to a terms of service that allowed machine learning to go through all of your shit, which many artists are obviously going to have issues with for very good reason. And now it looks like they were actually trying to trick people into paying an early termination fee for the services they had and hide the early termination fee. So it says, Adobe, one of the world's largest software companies known for developing popular software, offers subscriptions products. For years, they have harmed consumers by enrolling them in its default, most lucrative plan without clearly disclosing important plan terms. Okay, so getting you in the default, most lucrative subscription plan, whatever, no big deal there. But failing to adequately disclose to customers that by signing up for an annual paid monthly plan, they are agreeing to a year-long commitment and a hefty early termination fee that can amount to hundreds of dollars, that is messed up. Adobe clearly discloses the ETF only when subscribers attempt to cancel, turning the stealth early termination fee into a powerful retention tool by trapping customers into subscriptions that they no longer want. So let's take a look at what this all looks like. So if you take a look at their subscription flow over here, when you get to the payment page, the only time that there's anything mentioned even remotely like this is down here at the by clicking agree and subscribe, you agree, but here's the thing, it doesn't mention an early termination fee. By hitting agree after your trial ends, you will be charged $54.99 plus tax monthly. At the end of your one-year term, your subscription will automatically renew monthly unless you cancel, price subject to change. Cancel before your trial ends and you won't be charged. No annual commitment required after the first year. Cancel anytime via Adobe account or customer support. Again, the terminology, cancel anytime via Adobe account or customer support. So you can cancel anytime, but there's a fee, and we're not going to tell you. Cancel before May 29 to get a full refund and avoid a fee. You can also agree to the terms of use in the subscription and cancellation terms. So if you wanted to figure out that there is an early termination fee that can cost you hundreds of dollars, you have to go over to this tiny freaking text over here that I can't even read unless I zoom into it, and then click on the subscription and cancellation terms. And as the FTC properly says in this document, which Adobe knows many consumers do not notice or read. And even if you did read this, you would have to click on the subscription and cancellation terms to learn that there is an early termination fee. The fine print paragraph includes the first and only mention across the entire flow of an annual commitment. Even here, the commitment is not explicitly linked to the early termination fee or any other charge. The reference to canceling to avoid a fee does not mention the early termination fee by name or state its amount. In Enrollment Flow Example 3, the blue text labeled subscription and cancellation terms is a hyperlink that consumers must click to reveal a pop-up window with additional terms. Consumers can enroll in subscriptions without clicking that link, and Adobe knows most customers don't click it before enrolling in an APM plan. Damn straight. And again, what I love about this is that they're not saying, well, it's kind of more difficult. They're saying, they're being aggressive. They're saying that Adobe knows that people don't read this. Because Adobe knows people don't read this, they're doing it. They're directly implying negative intent to Adobe. And good on you. Good on you. I appreciate that our consumer and protection agencies in the United States are finally waking up a little bit. For example, now we're getting to how hard it is to cancel. To cancel, consumers must locate the cancellation page. Most Adobe customers have the option to self-cancel. To cancel on Adobe.com, consumers have generally had to navigate numerous pages with multiple options, much of which is wholly unnecessary to honor consumers' cancellation requests. To cancel, consumers must first locate the cancellation page. For example, at relevant times, consumers have had to first locate the account management page, then correctly choose a manager plan hyperlink amongst various similar hyperlinks like access your services, edit billing and payment, and finally identify the cancel your plan button. Locating and clicking on a cancel your plan button does not result in cancellation, because why would it when you're dealing with people who wish to roofie you into accepting terms of service that you do not want to accept by forcing you to agree to the terms of service in order to be able to access your sessions that you were part of your technology package that you already bought and paid for. These people do not respect you. They do not respect the concept of consent. They do not want you to understand what it is they're doing. They do not want you to understand what the terms even are, because if you understood what the terms were, you'd be able to say no. And people like this do not like that you have the option to say no. They never liked that you had the option to say no. And I'm hoping that the FTC does something about it. Locating and clicking on a cancel your plan button does not result in cancellation. Instead, after users have clicked the cancel your plan button, Adobe has forced them to undergo a convoluted process requiring several additional steps, some of which are wholly unnecessary to complete cancellation. For example, at relevant times, consumers who clicked cancel your plan had to re-enter their Adobe password, regardless of whether the subscriber had already signed in before reaching the screen. Also, consumers have been sent to a mandatory feedback page, requiring them to provide the reasons for cancellation. This page does not inform customers that their cancellation request was incomplete. Additionally, consumers have had to navigate through several web pages, pop-ups, and offers designed for retention. Finally, Adobe has required consumers to review and confirm the multitude of consequences that would follow the cancellation. For example, at relevant times, Adobe placed in prominent red font the early termination fee amount that APM plan subscribers would be charged if they cancel your subscription. So again, when it comes time to tell you that there is an early cancellation fee, the only way to find it is to go into the fine print text and click a hyperlink, before which there is no notification of this. But then when they want to try and keep you from canceling, you have giant red text telling you how you're going to be punished if you don't continue to pay a monthly fee for this software that, by the way, for kids watching, if you don't remember what it used to be like, you used to install the software on your computer and you didn't have to pay monthly for anything. You paid for the software once, you installed it, and it just fucking worked. Adobe offers no way to dispute this charge using the self-cancel flow. Subscribers have had to either pay the fee or cancel to reach out to Adobe's customer service to discuss or dispute the fee. If they choose the latter route, they cannot complete self-cancellation. Cancellation by contacting customer service. Adobe subscribers can also attempt to cancel by contacting Adobe's customer service. Subscribers who have attempted to cancel via customer service have encountered several obstacles that impede or delay their attempts to cancel. For example, subscribers have had to have their calls or chats either dropped or disconnected and had to re-explain their reason for calling when they reconnect. And subscribers have been transferred to one or more Adobe representatives during their call or chat, forcing them to encounter delays, re-explain themselves, and request cancellation multiple times. There is nothing more aggravating than being transferred to somebody after spending 20 minutes explaining your case and having them say, "How can I help you?" and having no idea why you were transferred. There is nothing that makes me want to pull a Marvin Hammer more than when I call AT&T or I call T-Mobile or I call New York City Department of Consumer Affairs and I have to deal with somebody for 45 minutes that says, "Sure, let me transfer you to the expert there," and they have no idea who I am when I get transferred. Nothing makes me want to get your killdozer and just run through every single one of these buildings more than being on the phone with a company that does this shit. And I genuinely hope that the FTC actually does something that affects this number. This is what I care about over here. I want to be able to look at a 5-year chart for Adobe and just see it go, because as you can see over here, since I did my last video, there was actually a little bump over here. It was going along at 480, 450, and then boop, my video, 525. When you take a look at what I've talked about when it comes to AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint, these companies, and I provide complete citations for all of them. There's an FCC.gov document link to all of this, so you do not have to trust me. Every single one of these carriers that sold your data without your consent against their own privacy policy, as if this should even be legal if it was in their fucking privacy policy, which it wouldn't if the United States had consumer protection legislation that was worth a shit, or consumer protection agencies that actually fucking did anything instead of wait till it's too late and we're all getting roofied all the time before they sue one company. They got penalized 0.02%. 0.02% of their net profit. Let's hope the FTC does something better here. Again, how will you know if the FTC does something good? You see this number go down. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. I like to use DaVinci Resolve for a number of reasons. The first is, if I purchase this software once, it continues to work for the rest of eternity. The second thing that I like about it is the plugins. So I use Linux, and because I use Linux, I'm essentially a second-class citizen. If I actually want to have something like a compressor, or even an audio plugin in general, I'm stuck using stuff like Kdenlive, where the compressor literally doesn't even have gain reduction. I have a compressor here, I can see gain reduction. I have a de-esser that actually sounds pretty damn good. It's, comparable to the stuff that you would get from Isotope or Waves or something like that. I got a limiter. Again, it's not like an Isotope maximizer or something, but it's good enough for me. If I want to, just not make the thing clip like crazy, but just make sure that the volume's up there. So if you listen to another, you don't have to turn the volume up crazily for mine and then have to go deaf when you listen to the next video. They have a lot of little things like this. And the best part about all of this is that not only does it work on Windows, it works in Linux. I have working audio plugins in color grading in Linux, and it doesn't crash. I've been using this program since 2020. It has not crashed once. It just works. It's beautiful. Sony Vegas on Windows used to crash 3 times a day. I know people that use Adobe Premiere that curse and scream every single day because this piece of shit constantly crashes. This never crashes. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's lovely. And I think that more people should utilize software from companies that treat them this way, even if it means changing your workflows a little bit. Switching over to Linux, yeah, it was a little bit of a pain in the ass. A little bit of a pain in the ass, and I get it. Technically you should use a fully open source video editor. Okay. Fully open source video editor up here. Video editor that I have to pay for, but no cloud shit over here. Cloud shit, there's a spectrum. One step at a time, one step at a time. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. This here is an LG G3 OLED television that also has cat scratchers on the side. That's my way of trying to bribe my cat into not scratching my speaker. We'll see if that works. In all seriousness, this is in the menu of this television. If you go in this at any one of the default profiles and you go to privacy and terms, what you'll notice with the smart television is there's an option called do not sell my personal information. And because we live in a dystopian world, this option is not by default checked. It should be the default when you pay over $3,000 for a television that you do not sell my personal information. But even when you pay that much for a television, the default is that they will sell your personal data, which is why you should never connect a television to the internet, particularly when these televisions have microphones built into them that allow them to listen to what it is you say in your living room. There are many other settings hidden in here that talk about being able to see what it is you're watching or what you're doing, to be able to make recommendations to you and personalize advertisements to you if you browse around the television. And 100% of those options is the consumer unfriendly option, and the advertiser grabs your data, sells it, and uses it however they please option.